It's a difficult one to explain, Sarah, but at a high level, what does the Supreme Court intervention mean at this stage?
Sure. So Justice Kagan denied an application by Epic to overturn the Ninth Circuit's stay on the district court's order, pending Apple's petition for certiorari to the Supreme Court this fall, as you said. So basically, the federal appellate court said that Apple doesn't need to lift yet its anti-steering provisions. Basically, the buttons, external links, or other calls to action that direct customers to alternative purchasing mechanisms in their app store, they don't need to lift that restriction yet. Epic charges developers lower fees on their own app store. And so they want a way to tell folks that, oh, you can click this button to go to our store. So that's what's at issue here.
So just to remind our audience, the appeals court has put its decision on hold so that Apple has time to file a Supreme Court appeal later in the year. But the ruling only kicks in if the justices refuse to hear the case. So it's complicated. What is the Tech Policy Institute's kind of big picture stance on this battle and the idea at the heart of it?
Well, what's interesting is that it's about this state law, California's unfair competition law, and it's focused only on the anti-steering provisions. Basically, can other app stores put links and buttons in Apple's app store to say, hey, user, you can click this link to go to another store to buy your in-app purchases. That's what we're talking about here. There are other items that are in actually another trial with Epic versus Google coming up this fall. And so that'll be interesting to watch as well. What's interesting to me also is looking at Epic and Fortnite. So Epic has 3 different lines of business itself. It's a multi-billion-dollar company that is a game developer, but also an app store and also a distributor. And so what's really interesting is to see how these 2 app stores are competing in the courts.
The technology story here is about developers and the App Store. Do you see any merit in kind of Apple's argument, which in summary essentially is that it is a relief to developers? You know, Apple feel like they're giving a lot of business and visibility opportunity with the rules such as they are.
Yes, well, personally, I think it makes sense that Apple would say on their own app store that we don't want links to other app stores that are competing with us. And so on that point, it makes sense that a store wouldn't want to be able to promote other stores in their own store. So that's what is at issue here. There are other claims in other lawsuits, and actually the 2 other claims that Epic made at trial were denied, were failed. So what's really at issue here is that disclosure rule, the anti-steering rule, and California's unfair competition law. And so, you know, there was a 16-day bench trial. There were dozens of witnesses, 900 exhibits in September 2021. And so they thoroughly went through all the different claims. The only one that survived, which is at issue here, are those buttons or the links to other stores. And that seems, you know, that's a very contained question. What's interesting as well is the appeal that Apple might file or will file with the Supreme Court raises some interesting federalism issues. And so that'll be good to watch.
Well, that's what I want to ask you next. You know, we love having you on the show, Sarah. You have such a deep knowledge in the area, but I appreciate you don't have a crystal ball, right? But what do you think will be the outcome? If the justices choose not to hear the Supreme appeal, what are the other avenues that either party can go down?
Well, so it sounded like we'll have to wait and see what Apple files in their certiorari appeal. But it sounded like they will raise questions about, you know, can a ruling on a state law affect by a federal court affect broadly parties outside of the lawsuit. So that'll be an interesting question to ask. When it comes to the ecosystem of gaming, I think there are a lot of questions about antitrust theory and about competition in the marketplace that are unanswered and that are good to go through discovery and litigation to actually look at the
Yes.
numbers, the market shares. So we'll be watching the Epic versus Google trial as well to see, how much competition is there in this marketplace. And yeah, it makes sense for
Yes.
gaming platforms to have rules.
Sarah, this is Epic's response to the Supreme decision 24 hours ago. The result will be to injure not only Epic, but innumerable consumers and other app developers for a significant period of time. Just very quickly, in the 30 seconds we have left, what your response, I suppose, to Epic's position on this?
Well, my question for them would be, how can you measure injury? And so they have to prove losses, and that's a counterfactual. It's not clear to me that there would be a lot of losses. I mean, people know that they can go outside of different stores to reach Fortnite and Epic content. They can go to Epic's app store themselves. And so it's a matter of discovering what that number is, having experts weigh in, and doing some economic analysis.